We want to show how to do the computer project on baseball salaries that's part of Unit 3. We will make a Google Docs spreadsheet and make a few comments about what's different if Excel is used. We'll assume that you've already written your answers to the preliminary write-up part of the project. The next step is to click on the link to the list of baseball salaries on the Unit 3 webpage. Highlight all the salaries in the list and copy to your clipboard. On a Windows machine, this is done by hitting Control-C. The example here was done with the salaries in 2009, and there were 818 salaries in the list. The number of salaries in 2011 is higher. Open a blank spreadsheet. For Google Docs, that means going to Gmail, clicking on Documents, then on Create, a spreadsheet. You can click on the cell labeled A1 and paste the salaries into the first column, Control-V on a Windows machine. Also, you can click on the title and change it to something that makes sense for the present project. For example, Unit 3, Baseball Salaries. Next, we want to make bins from 2 million to 4 million, from 4 million to 6 million, and so on up to 32 million, and then count how many of the salaries fall into each of the bins. To do that, we create a bin range of 2 million, 4 million, 6 million, and so on, and then use the frequency command to do the counting for us. Rather than typing all 16 of the numbers from 2 million to 32 million, we can type the first one, then type into the cell below it a formula that gives 4 million equals B1 plus 2 million, and then move the cursor close enough to the lower right corner of that cell, which has a dot on it, so that the cursor turns into a black plus sign. Then click and drag down. The formula will automatically increment to equals B2 plus 2 million, then to equals B3 plus 2 million, and so on. So we get our bins. Now next to the bins, we want to make the column of counts. Highlight the cells in column C next to the bins, plus one more at the bottom, cell C17, and type equals frequency, open paren A1 colon A818, comma B1 colon B16, close paren. In Google Docs, you only need to hit return, but in Excel, you need to hold down the Control and Shift keys as you hit return. The result will be a column of counts. The number of salaries less than or equal to 2 million, the number greater than 2 million but less than or equal to 4 million, the number greater than 4 million but less than or equal to 6 million, and so on, ending in the number greater than 32 million in cell C17. Next, we want the histogram of the salaries, or at least the closest graph to a histogram that a spreadsheet gives. So we highlight the numbers in columns B and C and hit the graph icon at the top of the sheet. In the menu that pops up, we want to click on the column graph format and the checkbox Use Column B as Labels, and hit Insert. The graph appears in an inconvenient place, so we click near the edge of the graph, it expands a bit, and move it. The menu and behavior are a little different in Excel, but you'll figure it out. The next job is to let the spreadsheet compute the average and such of the salaries. In the diagram, we put the labels average, median, and so on in column B, and the values in column C using formulas like equals average, open paren A1, colon A818, close paren. The formula for the 70th percentile is a little unexpected. Equals percentile, open paren A1, colon A818, comma 0.7, close paren. And the standard deviation we want at this point in the course is the population standard deviation. Equals STDEVP, open paren A1, colon A818, close paren. Without the P, we get the so-called sample standard deviation, which we'll talk about later in the course. We could use the frequency command again to find out how many of the salaries are less than the average salary. But because they're given in increasing order, we could just slide down the list and decide that way. In any case, we then divide by the number of salaries to get the percentage. Finally, there are the three last questions to answer on the spreadsheet. In Excel, if the text in a cell is too large and the cell to the right is empty, the text will spread across that second cell. So it's natural to type the answers to questions 4, 5, and 6 in 3 cells arranged vertically. But in Google Docs, a long text just makes a row taller, so it's natural to answer 4, 5, and 6 in cells arranged horizontally. Because the salaries are a skewed distribution, the average is a misleading measure of the center of the data. It's really too high. So it would be better to use the median. If you're using Google Docs to save paper, you can submit your work by sharing the spreadsheet with me.